Ireland in a big moment situation, choking again. JB doing his dancey dance in the corner. You just knew it was gonna happen. You just knew it was gonna happen. I mean, surely the deluded allegations that me and Jack were facing from the Ireland fans have to be gone now. Just initial reactions on the game, guys. What do we think?
I still think leading up to it, it was genuinely just a 50-50 game. And obviously we'll get onto refereeing decisions later, but I think La Rochelle did deserve to win in the end.
I think that game just epitomised Ireland's whole history of rugby. I mean, they choke in any sort of big moment. I mean, you lose to a team that has what, four in French players in it.
Yeah,
Just think about when they get all together and what happens in the World Cup. I can't wait for them to go out in the quarters.
100% more. It's interesting because if you look at the first half, I was on the live stream with Kieran. Leinster get off to a blitzing start. Dan Sheehan in the corner. Sheehan again scores. And it's looking like a head and hands moment for La Rochelle. They were down 17-0 at one point, right? But the turning point was the end of that first half when La Rochelle, I believe, Dante bumped Ringrose to score the try. And the pressure was on completely for Leinster.
I'd say obviously Sheehan really showed his class in that first half. I think everything was going right for Leinster. There was a turning point somewhere. And when the game changed, Leinster couldn't get out their half. They couldn't get their hands on good attacking ball, and La Rochelle were just too much for them.
Well, it's interesting. If we start with the Sheehan point, I mean, some Iron fans are saying he's the best hooker in the world after that performance yesterday, and that he's clear of other hookers like I think Cyril By, Malcolm Marks, just
Still
that
by the top, mate.
not Cyril By. I'll cut that bit out.
Marchand.
Marchand and Malcolm Marks. But do you guys think that performance, scoring two tries, puts him into that level in a European Cup final? Does that put him above Malcolm Marks, Marchand?
I think without a doubt, him and Malcolm Marks are at the top. They're just very different players. It's hard to compare them.
I
100%.
don't. I think we need to stop the narratives of where players play one good game and all of a sudden they're the best in the world in that position. Like I get Dan Shear's a class hooker, but Marks has been doing it for years and he's more versatile. We can do more on the pitch. I just feel like you can't put one player above just because of one game that the other hooker wasn't even in. It just makes no sense.
Realistically, all Sheehan does is score in the corner. I didn't see him in the breakdown. I didn't see him making any dominant carries. I think the Malcolm Marks comparison for me is blasphemous. I think Malcolm Marks has been the best hooker in the world since 2016, 2017. He's he's very much clear. But if we go on to the comeback that La Rochelle had, just how does that comeback happen? Because I think we're talking about before the game, if Leinster are able to have quick ruck speed, which they had in the first half, they're able to dominate most teams and win, get themselves onto the front foot. But when that gets taken away, everything just implodes for Leinster.
Yeah. I think what's interesting is if we go back to the when La Rochelle played Gloucester in the round of 16, and it was a really close game against Gloucester, which was just unexpected, but La Rochelle still found a way to win. And at that point, we were all saying La Rochelle are a champion side. They know how to win games. They know how to win big games as well. And at the end, I think that's just the main difference. They have a group there that believe in themselves so much that 17-0 down, they're fine. They'll get on with it.
Exactly. I think that's the biggest thing for me. Lens heading into this game, battering teams. Obviously, they lost the URC the week before. So people saying, you know what, it's fine. We didn't want to win the URC. We're going to win the Heineken Cup. You lose the URC, you get to the Heineken, all your eggs in one basket. You're battering teams you batter to lose, and then you lose 17-0 up. I mean, this is second year in a row as well. They've lost in a final against Ronan O'Gara again. I mean, do you think at this point heads need to roll in terms of decisions being made as like coaching futures, that sort of thing?
I don't think it's more so Leinster did something bad. I think it's just more so La Rochelle. Just they're a team. They are. You can see every player plays for each other, not
Mm.
just for the money or because they're a star. And I feel like they have a really good culture. And I feel like you need a lot more rugby teams like that where they don't have stars in every position, but they have a team and a well-built team throughout years of practice and training and all of that. Compared to Leinster, have obviously pretty much the Irish team, but when it comes down to it, they just can't do it because they don't play for each other.
100%. 100%.
I,
Yeah, Ren, you go.
the thing is about you say obviously I agree with everything you're saying. You said Leinster didn't do anything wrong. For me, I think what they've done completely wrong this season is go as far as they've gone in the URC, sorry, and then completely disregard it by putting out a weak team, losing in the semi-finals. You know, then you put all the pressure on that one final. It doesn't make sense to me because and especially it's bad for the league as well. URC is a rebuilding tournament that's trying to grow, and then you have the best team putting out a weak team. That just shows the world we don't care about this competition. So they disregard one competition completely, focus on another one, and then they can't get over the line in that one. Like that's what they've done wrong for me.
100%, man. And I don't know. I think I would slightly back Jack in saying what he's saying in terms of it's a cultural problem that Leinster have. Their last Heineken Cup, when did they last win it? Like 2018. They lost guys in that game like Sexton. They lost guys like James Ryan. They had no leaders on the pitch at one point. And I think this is something that you bring a competent South African in, like Nienaber, when he comes in after the World Cup, he will make them a world-class team. That's what they're missing. They're missing that sort of elegance and gracefulness that he can bring to that team in terms of making them a well-established side. But look, before the game, we also talked about the back row battle. Bottia and Aldry, I think in the first half they were quiet, but they just began to cook, didn't they? Like they were just phenomenal.
Yeah, and I think the main talking point was at the breakdown, as we all expected before the game. Like I feel like when Leinster, we looked at I think a stat came up midway through the game. Their average ruck speed was within 3 seconds in the first half. In the second half, it was around 8 seconds. Now, yeah, they were trying to slow the game down themselves, but it doesn't help when you've got players like Boscia, Aldrit just slowing that ball down constantly.
Not at all, not at all. And it's just Josh van der Fleer disappeared at one point. I mean, we spoke about how like Conan and Doris will not work. We said that before, and where were they both in that cup final? I think before the game, Brian O'Driscoll saying that Caelan Doris was like, this is a legacy game, and he was gassing up the game. But huh?
That was Kieran saying it was a legacy game for him.
Well,
where is Kieran today, actually?
Kieran has a headache today. So Kieran, actually, yeah, I forgot to say, if people are watching and they're wondering where Kieran is, Kieran has a headache. So Kieran, unfortunately, could not be present for the recording, but we are sending him his wishes. It's just Commonel, really. What is to be expected? But look, we need to look at this and I think address the elephant in the room. What does this mean? What does this loss mean for Irish rugby? Because having a situation where so-called one of the greatest club teams of all time, 17-0 up, and you just choke. Does this have implications on the Irish game?
100%. I mean, that team is basically the Irish team in itself, apart from Matt Hansen and maybe a couple others. I mean, it's not like he does anything anyway, but that's another conversation. I just feel like, as I said before, it is just pinnacle Irish rugby. You choke, you completely flop out, and you get outplayed. So I can't wait for the World Cup.
Do you know what? I'm kind of on the fence about this one because on one hand, you look at it, you say a team with 13 starting Irish internationals lose to a team that, yes, has a lot of big names in it, but has nowhere near the amount of names that this Leinster team has. So yeah, it should have an effect on Ireland, but at the same time, when you're in an Ireland camp and you're going to a World Cup or you're preparing for a World Cup, you know, I feel like the culture is different because you've got someone like Andy Farrell there.
What culture? Like they've never made it past the quarterfinal.
I do think this Irish team is different to a lot of other Irish teams. It has that feeling of it. I still don't see.
They said that in 2019. They said the exact same
thing. Stockdale, Rohan. Realistically, if I was Andy Farrell, I wouldn't be planning the games. I've said this before. It's a bar use all the time. Plan the return ticket. Look for the cheap package. I hear Tuya doing some nice stuff there. So don't bother with tactics. Look for the return package. It makes the most sense. Like I think for me, the World Cup dreams are done. Done, Rohan. 13.
But to say that after one game, and the thing is as well, especially in the current climate of rugby, you know, if South Africa, things go well for Ireland and they end up beating South Africa in the pool stages, they're going into the quarterfinals with a lot of confidence. So anything can happen, and they are a talented group of players. They have very, very talented coaching staff there. And if something can go their way, it doesn't take much for them to rebuild that confidence and get a
So,
culture.
Rohan, we both know that they have to either play France or New Zealand, right?
Yeah.
They are not beating New Zealand in a World Cup format. I can
Not at all.
confidently bet my house they won't happen. And then we both know what France could do given on their day, and most of the time it is their day. So
Bro,
I just can't see it.
all I'm
Yeah.
saying,
No,
all I'm
yeah, I
saying,
agree.
Jack and I at one point were like getting absolutely slandered for being Irish haters and just being kids that just hated Ireland. But a lot of what we have said so far like has come true with Ireland
Come
losing
through,
the
yeah.
URC, losing this Heineken Cup final. And did she at the end? I think Sheehan and Josh Van der Fleer were crying because they lost. Like, I don't think from what I saw, this is a team that now has the confidence to go and win the World Cup. And then also, Rohan, I'm not sure if you noticed, they can't handle physicality. Like as soon as the game got physical and La Rochelle started being physical, and
Oh,
they
I
couldn't.
don't know. I feel like there was a momentum swings because for a lot of the time in that first half, they were dominating La
Yeah,
Rochelle. They're like on the gain line, they were just absolutely tearing them apart. And then obviously when they lost the ball, they lost confidence. Maybe that's a problem with Irish rugby at the moment. Something goes wrong and they lose confidence in it. Like I'll give you an example. There was a mistake where Sateni breaks straight through the middle. You've got Ringrose, and I don't know who's outside Ringrose, but they just leave a hole. Maybe because of everything that's gone wrong, they've lost confidence in the players around them, and then that's where the gaps start to open up. I think
exactly.
maybe that's the main problem with Irish rugby at the moment.
So mentality is what you're basically
Yeah,
suggesting.
because we can't question their system, their coaching team, the talent that they have. We can't question that. But when things start to go wrong, they do tend to crumble, and we saw that in the
I,
final.
I do just want to say I don't want to hear any Leinster fans or Irish fans say if we had Sexton we would have won. You didn't and you lost, so it's
Thank you,
irrelevant.
Jack.
Don't
What
say
about
that.
the?
It
It
doesn't
takes
matter.
you back to another thing where Sexton at a World Cup, he's not going to be able to play every single minute of every single game.
No.
39 years old. Against France, the biggest game in the Six Nations, they had to take him off for the last 30 minutes. So you're going to need Ross Byrne to be a crucial part of your World Cup hopes. And I
And
don't
it's
see
not like
having
it's not
success.
like he. I don't think he's been that bad though. Like obviously he's not on
No,
the Sexton level, but he's not that bad at rugby.
No,
Ross
he's
Byrne
not, but he's
disappeared.
not he's not going to drive this Ireland team who
No.
was created for Sexton to a World Cup. Even if he has to only play 20 minutes off the bench, like he's just not going to be able to do it.
Where was Ross Byrne yesterday? I promise you now, like he fully disappeared, fumbles the ball, like I,
He
I
did a
don't
Pollard.
understand.
He did a Pollard game.
But
Right.
just to sort of wrap up. I mean, Jesus, I don't want to say that I was expecting it, but not in this fashion. I was Jesus, like to crumble like that, 17 points up. You know, I was almost fooled for a moment to believe an Irish person could win some silverware. But then again, the Irish genes came out. What about being at the Aviva waving their flags about the Irish atmosphere?
Yeah, can we just complete? We haven't even talked about that the game was in Ireland's backyard. I mean, if that's in a neutral stadium, La Rochelle are crushing them. But the fact that
100%.
they were at home and had the fans, then and they still bottled it,
It's
embarrassing.
crazy.
Difficult.
It's crazy. It's an
I
absolute
think.
embarrassment.
I'll ask you both questions then, as avid Irish haters. Are you now not considering Ireland in that South Africa, France
They're
sort of
finished.
top tier, top
They're
favorite?
finished.
Rohan, I've never considered Ireland in that tier, and now they've just lost the cup final. You think I'm going to put them up? They've gone down. They're on the
Finished.
Argentina Scotland tier now. They're not even up there.
I'll put the Wales, England, like Rohan, they're done. They're done. They've just shown they can't win when the heat's on. When it's cooking, Rohan. Rohan, their rollies are not real. That's the most important thing. Their rollies are not real. They
No,
cannot
that's
cook
true.
when it's important. But
Wow.
yeah, guys, just to wrap up, common Island L, common Leinster L, common Farrell L.
I also like to say I hope Kieran recovers from his head injury. Sorry, his headache.
Yeah,
And then hopefully we'll have him back on the podcast soon. Other than that, yeah.
hopefully, man. I mean, yeah, just wanted to send our prayers and best wishes for a speedy recovery for Kieran, who's unfortunately suffering from a disastrous headache, as we just said. So hopefully he gets well soon. Yeah, guys, I guess we're gonna wrap up there. From us to you, it's been the breakdown. Next week we're gonna have Gallagher Premiership predictions rolling out, and also URC final predictions, where we see Stormers are going to win. Obviously, it's not really no need for a prediction there. But from us to you, thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye. Thank you.